There we go. All right, we're going to get started here. Wait. Welcome. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Welcome. Looks like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Welcome. Let me, we're going to do this here. Welcome, guest, soldier in the making. Once again, Happy New Year. Welcome to your Hour of Power, your solution interactive podcast. So get in, buckle up, turn down all distractions, right? Get in the car. Did you bring your pen? Did you invite a friend? I am your host, Soldier of Self-Mastery. We're going to be here for about 35 to 45 minutes. Time's going to go by very quickly, all right? I'm out of Stockton. I am your coach. I'm the founder. I'm a visionary here. Did you get that? Yes, gambling is a lie. It'll turn you into a French fry. If you eat too much of those, you may die. All right, time to decide, time to put away your pride. Let's get started. Welcome, guest, soldier in the making, whoever thou art, welcome. Hopefully I don't see Jim here yet, or do I? Let me get back into this here, make sure that am I in the right broadcast? Okay, here we go. All right. I don't know if Jim is going to be joining us tonight on this broadcast, but either way, we're going to have a 30 to 45 minutes of mind search, mind stuff, if you will, for growth, not for growth, for growth, for becoming more confident, for becoming more confident, more focused. How many of you out there want to go backwards? Let me see a show of hands. How many of you out there want to go backwards? I see Jim there. All right. Well, we have two guests, a couple of guests that keep coming on. And so we're going to bring Jim on here in just a minute. Let me see. We do have, we have some thoughts. I'm calling them, what am I calling them? I'm calling them Jim's Paradise. No, they're not called Jim's Paradise. Jim's Outlook. And we're going to look at some questions here. You are in the growth zone, so turn on your switch. We're going to learn a little bit about MMPC, ST, what else? LB, and maybe some FTs. Santos, what the heck are you talking about? Those are all the things that distract us, all right? We don't need to get too much into that. We're just getting started. Anyways, welcome, Jim. Good to see you here.
Hello, Santos. Good evening.
Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah,
How you doing? Can you hear me all right?
Man?
Tucson, it's okay. It's a little bit kind of cloudy, or maybe a little bit rainy. Interesting weather. But it's okay.
Oh man, just a little bit of rain. That's all I need.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A little bit of rain. Well, here we're gonna see who's gonna join us. I don't know if anybody's gonna join us, Jim. Maybe it'll just be you and I talking a little bit. But I do have a little list here of some questions and some thoughts. And I think this might be interesting to kind of get into it. We do have a proverb. I want to share a proverb. And then we could talk, maybe we could just share a little bit about these ideas that we were thinking about. Again, if anybody's welcome to come on the broadcast. If you got a question that you want to ask, You got something in mind that, I mean, who wants to go backwards? I know I don't. Jim, you want to go backwards?
Backwards? Not really. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes, sometimes we find ourselves going backwards, huh? It's like, but we don't. We just find ourselves kind of, if we're not careful. So, yeah, let's take a look at this here. All right. Well, John, this is a proverb, John 1, 8, John 1, 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It always reminds me of journaling, the Bible, kind of all the words in this book, and the way it's been handed down to all of us. Uh, but it's just it's like every book is kind of neat when you think about it, but there's just some books that are just more, I guess they have more meaning, they're more prevalent. So there it is. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, Jim, I don't know if we were just thinking about this tools for transformation, cultivating positive emotions of action. I was thinking about that before this podcast, and I was just thinking it's kind of interesting, cultivating positive emotions of action. What I'm just curious, what when you were thinking about that, or what comes to your mind when you think about that, right? Cultivating positive emotions of action.
yeah. I mean, I think if we are going to change, I think we got to get a hold of our emotions. And what kind of emotions do we want to have if we're going to have, change in the right direction, the direction we want to go in? I mean, is fear going to help us? Is anxiety? Is self-hatred? Are any of those going to help us? We have to think about the emotions that take us to the better place, that'll fuel us, like eagerness, anticipation, you know, excitement, that kind of excitement where, there's hope, right? Those are the kinds of feelings that you want to get. You want to get pumped up, right? Tony Robbins talks about that emotional state, right? We need to be put in a really good, positive emotional state to help us move in the right direction. And we have to be able to direct our emotions. And I think you brought it up. The word, right? The word is light, right? And we don't want to be chasing darkness. Our natural inclination is to move towards the light, where the energy is. And we can go ahead and actually fashion that energy by words. What kind of words are we, putting into our mind? What kind of words are we repeating ourselves with, over and over in our mind? If we ever think about that, you know, those kinds of words can groove us into the emotional state we want to be in. I mean, if you keep on thinking about, if you keep on thinking about like discipline, right? I'm a disciplined person. I have control over my life. I'm moving myself in the right direction. I have discipline. I have discipline. I do what I need to do, right away. Right. You keep on saying that word, right? And you start acting on it, right? It directs you in the direction that you need to go, right? Then all of a sudden you start doing stuff and you start looking at what's happening. It's like, wow, this feels good, it's like, something's happening here. What kind of emotions start rising when we start acting on the words that we are thinking about? You know, good feelings, positive feelings, hope. I think that's probably what we are looking for, that emotion of hope, right?
Mhm.
Because, there, it seems like there's a chance, there is something that's changing in our lives because I'm you know, thinking about the direction I need to go. I'm moving in the direction I'm trying to go in, and I'm seeing results. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we have to really be thinking about the connection between words, and we have to be thinking about the connections to our emotions, right? What kind of words are we feeding in our mind, repeating in our mind over and over again? We have to be intentional about choosing those words, you know. And if we can do that, we will be moving in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, it's this is very deep. In fact, it was so deep that it really, we're going to kind of focus on this. Welcome to those of you that are joining us tonight from around the world. Welcome, guest, soldier in the making, community member. Anyhow, I hope that you brought a pen. And did you invite a friend? I know some of us don't want to hear that, but we need to invite people into this community. I had a few words with someone. Oh man, oh, and is he British? He's from the UK. Anyways, man, it's pretty amazing what you can do when you believe in something and you just keep working it. It impacts other people's lives in many great ways. Anyways, I thought I was recording our conversation so I can put it in audio. Just a kind of a testimonial of somebody that's really come to respect me in some great way. But the conversation wasn't being recorded. It was through Messenger. But anyways, um, so I wrote this little poem here, just a little poem. I'll read that here in a minute. But I want to really think about this. By the way, welcome those of you that are joining. Laura, welcome, Laura. To see you here. Good to see you. The Rock. Looks like there's a new little icon there. Yeah, Laura. And of course, we have Coach Jim on the other side. We're broadcasting via Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. But cultivating positive emotions of action. Or how about if we looked at that a little bit different and we said cultivating positive emotions that get us to take action? I think we all struggle right there, right? Just, man, we want to do something. We have the drive to do it, right? We get excited, man. We get around other people that are talking about it. Yeah, fired up. You know what I mean? And then comes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, that flame goes out a little bit. Cultivating positive emotions to keep us moving, to keep us taking action. There's a little a body in motion. We've all seen this on TV. I think it's in a commercial. A body in motion stays in motion. A body that's not in motion stays where? So, um, hey, Race, good to see you, man. Mark, I'm here a little late. We're all running a little late here, 14 minutes. So we're just talking about what's going to motivate you and I. What's going to motivate us to tackle on these difficult things that we have to do on Monday or Tuesday? The weekends are real cool. You can relax a little bit, maybe again practice, right? I find myself doing a lot of practicing during the weekends to get it right because I fail. Sometimes I fall short. I set goals and I don't reach my goals, and it's easy when you set yourself up like that, right? Jim, you set up goals and you fall short, and then if you're not careful, are you going to get yourself to take action? Are you going to take control of your emotions, or are you going to let your emotions take control of you? You know, your emotions can get a little bit out of whack. You ever felt one of those days, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, like when these kinds of things happen, I think we do need to remind ourselves um, about key words that help us get through it. I mean, like I was having a difficult time, like on my website, my website. I was trying to figure out why certain things weren't working. You know, why weren't certain things loading? And I just kept at it, and nothing was working, right? And it was frustrating. It was frustrating. But if because I kept at it, well, I wasn't feeling good, wasn't feeling good, no success, but I just kept at it, and I think about the words patience. I think about the word persistence, and lo and behold, it's like things clicked. I found the answer. I kept at it. Certain things worked. Certain things didn't work, but I kept at it and I found the solution. It worked. It's like, wow. I mean, it's easy to get frustrated, and
Mhm.
if we are frustrated, it's easy for us to just quit, right? It's easy for us to quit. But for what I believe, what I think is that the outcome, we don't have to worry about the outcome. If we just keep going, the outcome will take care of itself. I mean, I think about golf. You know, uh, One of the training methods for putting on the green is focus on the stroke. Forget about hitting the golf ball in the hole. Focus on the correct stroke. Focus on following
Exactly.
through, back and forth. Forget about the outcome. And when you focus on what you're doing, staying in the moment, right? You know, the results will eventually take care of itself. So if we bring in the word patience into our vocabulary, we think about that. If we think about persistence, you know, I don't think, I think we reduce the chances of us getting lost and giving up. So we have to kind of, build our vocabulary in such a way that we have these tools to pull onto, pull from. And yeah, and one of the things that we need to do is just keep going. We have to keep going. If you want the results, right? The results are going to take care of itself. We need to just keep doing, setting a plan, and just taking action. Forget about the results. Sometimes we mess up, right? Sometimes we fall down, right? But it's important to, okay, so if you mess up, okay, all right, what happened? Okay, take a look at what happened and then adjust and just keep going. What happened? What was wrong? And that's where the importance of journaling, right, comes in. It's like, what happened today? What went wrong? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and correct it. You know, Something that I was thinking about today, I think yesterday over the weekend, was, how do we bring out the best in ourselves? What brings out the best in ourselves? What does that mean? You know, and reflecting on how do we how do we how do we bring out the best in ourselves? Is it other people? You know, it's like, oh yeah, she
Mhm.
brings out the best in me, or my friend brings out the best in me. But I was thinking, you know what? Can we figure out what we can do to bring out the best in ourselves? Then I started thinking about, what does the best in ourselves mean? What does the best in ourselves look like in any circumstance, right? Think about in any circumstances where you are. Maybe you're going to the casino, right? You know, if you imagine, what does the best in myself look like? When I say, it's like, I'm in this situation. What does that look like? And then you start thinking, well, the best in me turns right around. you know, the best in me, you know, and it's like those are the images that you want to go ahead and manufacture, right? Cultivate, create, right?
Mhm.
You don't need anyone else. You can just use your own mind. What does it look like? What does the best in yourself sound like when you're speaking to other people? You know, your coworkers, your family, right? Is it screaming, yelling, cursing, you know, sharing them, you know? Or is the best in yourself looking like, you know, is it calm? You know, is it peaceful? You know, so when you do, you know, certain reflections, you know, you can kind of direct yourself in a direction, in that positive direction, right? So, you know, visualization is another tool that we're talking about, right? What does it look like? What does it look like? You know, the best in me. You know, so we think about our words that we use, our self-talk, right? You know, do we talk down to ourselves? Do we speak negatively? You know, is that looking at the best in ourselves? You know, so those are the kinds of things that I thought about when we're talking about changing our emotions for the better, right? If you can imagine it, right? If you can visualize it, you can do it. You know, if you can see yourself, you know, being that kind of person, you can do it, right? That's the direction that we want to go in.
Yeah, I believe that the challenge that we all have is the FTs, the FTs, the focus thieves, and then the limiting beliefs. We're always dealing with limiting beliefs. Sometimes we think we got conquered in one area, and there's something else showing up. And we got to have this kind of a lifestyle, because if not, if you become bored, you lose that excitement, you lose that risk factor. You start looking into the bad things. The shadow, the dark shadow within us starts to come out. The sinful nature begins to come out. I believe that we are attracted to the light, but sometimes, because of maybe the way that I was brought up, I kind of feel like I'm more attracted to the darkness. And that's where I find myself in the battle, right? It's all in the mind. It really is all in the mind. And again, what we're practicing, right? Whatever you're practicing on a daily basis is going to prepare you for tomorrow, or it's not going to prepare you for tomorrow. Anyways, here's my little poem for the day, since we're broadcasting live all over the world. I'm sure Jim will enjoy this one. Prepare for your best. Prepare to outlast the rest. The old, no fold. You're told. I told you earlier that gambling is a. So you're not sold. You stand bold, even though it may be cold. That's how we showed. And we never bowed. Anyways, there's my little rhyme. I like to throw those in there. For some reason, I like to create those little poems. Hey, it's funny to me. All right, so don't bust my chops. Go ahead and laugh a little bit if you want. What you thinking, Jim? What's on your mind? Anyways, before I get Jim's thought here, how do we take proper action that helps propel us forward? Well, one of the things that you're doing right, and I highly recommend it, come into this community on Sundays. Hang out here. Maybe you don't know what's going on in your life. Hopefully, through being here for a little bit, you can get some kind of redirection. It's like we got a, it's like we got all this bad software. We talked about this many times. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. So we've got all this bad software, or maybe we just have a little bit of bad software, right? It's just a little bit. And somehow that software must be replaced. You must remove that old software and re-inject it with new software. in order to be more optimized, in order to behave, to get the results that you want in your life. How many of you want to go backwards? Anybody here want to go backwards? Hey, I want to go backwards. I don't think there's anybody here that wants to go backward. So we were discussing this one question here, cultivating positive emotions of action. Jim was bringing this to our attention. Now, he's got a lot of questions here. Identify the emotions, enhance, subtract from our lives. Where do they come from? What enhances the positive? Oh man, we'd be here. This is like 2 or 3 months worth of material here. But we are going to stick with this because what's important is for us to, again, prepare for the best so that we outlast the rest, right? We get away from the old. We don't fold. So what is it that you must be doing? What is it that you should be doing to cultivate some kind of an emotional anchor within yourself to keep yourself going through these fun times that we're all living in?
Yeah, Santos, I think, one of the important things, in starting the process is you got to actually, allow yourself to go a little crazy. I mean, fanatical. You got to, whatever it takes, I'm going to act very strange. I'm going to start doing some weird things, whatever it takes, to move myself in the right direction. People are going to say that, you're strange. Why are you talking to yourself? Why do you keep on writing in that journal? Why do you keep on watching those videos? Why do you keep on listening to those audio books? Here, look at you, it's like you go and buy these Bluetooth headphones. I see you always wearing these things, listening to something. You got to get fanatical. You got to get crazy almost. I mean, really, really obsessed, with what you want. And that's the focus, right? It's like, never again, I'm going to go ahead and do whatever it takes. You have to get crazy. You got to, that's the kind of, the thing. It's kind of funny. You have to kind of, like you said, anchor, right? If you look at the casino, if you look at the alcohol, you're going to start creating using your imagination to create some really weird kind of connections that makes all those things the freaking enemy, the disgusting devil, right? You're going to go ahead and start associating, the bad stuff with the bad stuff and the negative emotions. And then you're going to start associating where you want to go, the real good stuff, and you're going to start using language, right, that associates, the positive emotional things that will move you to where you want to go. So, I mean, crazy. You got to get crazy. And that's okay, because think about this. You feel that you're normal right now, everything's going okay, but where's that getting you? What is that doing for you? Well, that's taking you straight to the casino. That's taking you straight to the bar. That's taking you straight back to, just your complacency, just going downhill, right? It's it's kind of tied to, your emotions, I believe. And you have to kind of really control your emotions. I mean, really make the bad stuff like the casino, whatever addiction that you have, associate it with a lot of pain. Start using some, vocabulary words, use some curse words, you know, and saying all these kinds of things that remind you that that's the bad place. That's the wrong place. This takes me in the wrong direction. Talking to yourself like that, it's weird, you know, but I mean, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years? You got to start somewhere, right?
Where do you exactly? Where do you want to be tomorrow? I was thinking about that. We had some questions in the last episode about 6 months, right? 6 months from now, 12 months from now. And now the reality to me is Monday's coming. Am I prepared for Monday? Tuesday's coming. You know, it's one thing to be prepared, practice to be prepared. Someone said it's better to be prepared and not have no opportunity than to have the opportunity come at you and not be prepared. Does that make sense?
You got to be
Right?
ready, right?
Yeah,
Got to
you
be
got to
ready.
be practicing something every single day. By the way, thank you, Keith. I appreciate the support. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Anyways, wanted to thank you for your words every Sunday. Thank you for being here. If you guys weren't here every Sunday, we wouldn't have a program. We wouldn't have a podcast. It wouldn't be 194. I believe it's 194. Sometimes my brain goes a little bit this way, that way. But we're talking about transformation. We're talking about getting more, getting ourselves ahead, getting, you know, what's on your mind?
You
Right?
know, use the word cultivate, right, Santos? I mean, what does cultivate mean? That's a positive word that we should really kind of, put put in our conscience. Cultivate, right? Think about like a garden, right? What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cultivate, just taking action, right? Doing intentional steps, right, to grow whatever you want to grow, right? What do you want to grow in your life, right? Okay, so yeah, I want to grow strength against my addiction. I want to just get rid of this addiction. I want to knock this thing out. It's like, well, once you start thinking about that, cultivate. How do I cultivate, a strategy to get rid of my addiction, right? You start attracting ideas, right? Okay, so I need to do this. I need to do that, and you write down these things, right? And then you go to bed, you wake up, you look at your list, right? And you start, okay, so these are the things that I'm going to focus on doing. Before leaving the day, leaving for the day. These are the things. I have my list here. This is my plan, and I'm going to go ahead and remind myself that this is I need to work on. Do we slip up sometimes? Do we forget? Yeah, we forget. But at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, right, we can reflect, right? Okay, so yeah, I didn't do this right. Why didn't I do this right? Right? All right, let me try another strategy. Let me go and try something else. Okay, well, this is the reason why I think I messed up. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You write that down. Okay, yeah, I was around this guy, this friend, John. I was around John and he took me over to the bad place, and I slipped up. It's like, oh, you know, well,
Mm-hmm.
well, next time, I don't think I really want to go and hang out with John. Okay, try something else, right? And how
Mm-hmm.
did it go? You know, how did it go? It's
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm seeing some results. I'm seeing some results. And then all of a sudden you start getting excited, you know? It's like, wow, it does take time. I mean, in your case, Santos, I mean, was it a smooth sailing ride up, to get rid of your addiction?
I
Or
wish
or
it
was there
was.
was there was there two steps forward, one step back? That kind of stuff happens, right?
Yep.
You
You
know,
once
and
you're determined, some people can, some people right out of the gate, you can make up your mind. It really has a lot to do with the mindset that you've had for the years. Because some people, have a good upbringing. Others have a horrible upbringing. They don't even understand what the word goal is. Um, confidence. What's that word mean? I never really understood what that word really meant, probably up until a couple years ago. I just knew that, man, I couldn't get beat up anymore. There was something needed to change, something needed to happen. And it's real strange when I think about what happened to me. What got me going with gambling was actually rolling dice, just dice, rolling dice. And I thought the other day, I wonder why they call it craps in the casinos. That's how I got into the casinos, was through the craps, rolling dice. I didn't start out making love to the slut machines. I didn't start out, arguing with people over a 5 cent machine, nickel machines, whatever. Boy, you get really angry inside the casino. It's your machine. It's like you. It's almost like you're that's a like a girlfriend or something to you. You get really jealous and anyhow. So those were my days. So yes, it was some difficult times, but I was determined, and that's the key. Again, it's just really determination, and I couldn't do it alone. I know I couldn't do it alone. I needed a lot of help along the way. Some people helped me, some people didn't help me. But eventually we all need people in our lives. We all need it is about teamwork, but it's who you work with also, right? You can think that somebody's good for you and then come to find out they weren't good for you. And sometimes it takes a little bit to find that out. Um, and in life, you're able to turn things around. I think about the grace of the Almighty. He's with me to help me. So I trust him to turn things around. Um, but ultimately, yeah, it was a lot of stuff, a lot of writing, journaling, a lot of electronic affirmation, reading books, people. As much as no, I'm not afraid to admit it anymore. I think I used to be afraid to admit it, but I needed help and I still do need people in my life. We all do. But again, it's about the kind of people that you allow into your life, right? It's about the kind of people, not how many. We could have a lot of, oh man, I got thousands of friends, right? We can say that, but how many are really loyal? Two, three, four, five. Anyhow, I'm preaching. I'm starting to preach it. So, did I share my poem with you guys? I sure did, right? Prepare for your best. Prepare to outlast the rest. The old, no fold, don't fold. You're told, so you're not sold, and you stand bold. That's how we showed. Anyways, I must have read that 3 times. It's it's good to just be creative. Jim talked about coming out of that thing. Remember that thing that we used to crank up? I used to kind of like that little toy. And then the thing pops out of the box, right? You know what I'm talking about, Jim?
Jack
I
in the
mean, that thing
Box.
pops, yeah, that thing pops out, especially the new ones. You know what I mean? They bing, they spring out of that thing. It's like, I was just thinking about what you were saying. You're gonna be different. You got to stand out and just got to find what it is that motivates you. We talked about that earlier in the broadcast. What's going to motivate, cultivate, positive, emotional, so that we take action and we're not just there burning up. Like those cars that spin around, they're burning their tires. They go around and around in a circle. Sometimes you see them. You probably know what I'm talking about. They're all over the streets now. They have accidents and their tires blow out. But
Drag racers.
anyways, I guess if you have the muscle, if you have like the scat packs, or the, what do they call them, the SRTs, the GTs, if you can have that kind of power and spin your tires and buy new ones, I guess it could be something fun to do until you get a big ticket for marking up the road, I guess. So, um, let me see. Anything?
Santos, I think,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jim.
yeah, I think one of the most important parts of the day is when you wake up. You know, um, oftentimes, I can go and speak for myself. There can be a lot of anxiety. There can be a lot of like negative thoughts racing through our minds, like what we have to what we have to do, or obstacles or challenges that are going to face us during the day and during the week. You know, but I think we can go and choose. And what I do is I say, you know what, I'm going to do today. I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to do my best, and this is going to be an excellent, a productive day. You know, just that kind of self-talk kind of directs your mind, and focuses you to where you want to go. When you say, I'm going to have a great day today, I'm going to do my very best today. Just saying that in your mind, saying it out loud. And all of a sudden, when you start saying those kinds of words to yourself, thinking about these kinds of words, directing your mind intentionally, right? It starts attracting stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm going to have a great day. What am I going to do my very best in? What am I going to do? So I have all these things, I'm going to get up, I'm going to freaking make my bed, all right, I'm going to go and take care of that. And you just start looking for things on how you can do your very best, and when you start thinking like that, it starts attracting all these possibilities for you to do the best you can in each instance. And it's just it's a micro thing, right? But they add up. All the little things that you could do, right? That you should do and you do, right? All those things add up, and it starts with, you know, what you wake up with. I'm going to have an excellent day today. I'm going to do my very best, uh, whatever happens, I'm going to do my very best today. I'm going to be my very best,
Yeah.
you take a deep
Yeah.
breath and you just go, right? And with that mindset, it starts attracting, things for you to encounter, right? All these little opportunities. I think that's what life is, right? Life is just a bunch of opportunities, right? What does that mean? A bunch of opportunities. It's
Hmm.
circumstances where you can take advantage of, right? It's like, there's my messy bed, I can actually, you know make that neat. I can go ahead and look at this dirty kitchen. I'm going to go and clean up this kitchen, right? Right, it needs to be clean. I'm going to clean it. All these opportunities. Here's my angry wife, right? My
Yeah.
angry wife, she's kind of pissed off or something, and you do something nice for her, like you bring her some flowers, right? And
Hmm.
it's like, wow, that really changed the way she acts. It's like, wow. You start looking for stuff, your mind is geared. So when I'm talking about, like, words, right, that puts you in that emotional state, right? It gives you that direction, right? Where is the light? It starts with, I'm going to do my very best, and then you start asking, what does the best look like, right? And yeah, and it starts attracting stuff, right? It starts attracting all these different little opportunities for you to take advantage, right? Take advantage, in any
Yep.
situation, right? And that's why I say, how can I bring the best out of myself, in any circumstance. You start thinking about that. And I think that's
Exactly,
that's
Jim.
that's where it starts. It starts with what you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And practice. We talked. I'm trying to keep that word perfect. We ain't perfect. I'm doing my best to keep that out of my vocabulary. So I'm working on. We need to practice, and the more you practice, the better you get. So the better you get, the more you want to practice. Why do we practice? So that you can get better. Well, why do you want to get better? You got your own motives. You got motives to serve other people. The goal is not to think that we're going to get ourselves to a point of perfection, because we're not, obviously. But you can get yourself to a place where you become better, more confident, more focused. You identify the um, you identify your enemies very quickly, right? That's really neat when you can identify your enemies really quickly. You can just defeat your enemies. We all have them every single day, every week, every month. Sometimes they're kind of the same enemies. Sometimes they show up a little bit different, different colors, different sizes, male, female. Sometimes you don't know what it is. And these are the enemies that show up in our lives. I want to share something real quick here. Let me see if I can do this. Um, uh, Let me see. Can I do this? Let me see here. No, I guess not. Maybe not. Let me see. No, I guess not. Anyhow, let me get out of that screen. Uh, he says I'm going crazy. We got to get crazy in a good way. Can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah, I can hear
Okay,
you.
good. We're coming down to the wire here. We're in the air. By the way, thank you guys. I hope, once again, Facebook, um, YouTube, Twitter, we've had a little bit of an audience. And again, if you find that this broadcast, this is 194. Yeah, we've been doing this for a while. 194. If you feel like this broadcast is helping out, I believe it is helping out people around the globe, people that are hurting, not just financially, but you're hurting with some kind of whether it's gambling or something else that has you by the throat, and you seem to be getting better. You're reaching out, you're leaving notes, you're leaving comments. Thank you. I appreciate the support, the financial support. Only if something's happening good for you should you participate in giving, right? If I'm not doing anything good for anybody, you know, or why should I ask for somebody to contribute financially? Um, I like to give, but I also like to know where I'm giving to, because there's a lot of places that you can give and your money could be basically just taken advantage of, squandered, no help for anybody. Anyhow, that's we're coming down to the wire here. Thank you guys for hanging out. So I do feel, again, if you feel like you're being supported, make sure that you soldier scribe to this mission here, to this channel. Make sure that you turn your notifications to all. Always, I'm always trying to earn a thumbs up if I can. Jim and I, Coach Jim and I, sharing what experiences we have. Hopefully, we can get a thumbs up, comment, and a share. That helps out the mission. It helps us help others, because there's a lot of people that are looking. They're looking to hear what we have to share, what we're expressing, our ideas, solutions, and answers. So, Jim, I'm gonna let Laura know. Laura, thanks for hanging out. The Rock, Race. Let me see. Bob, Barry, thank you for being with us tonight here for a little bit. That's because they don't want anyone to take the money that's coming and it's about to pay out. No payouts. The only payouts is we have with ourselves when we're working. You know what I mean? When we're doing what's right. Race, Laura, The Rock from Brockton. I get him. Jim. I haven't seen Jim in a while. We have Coach Jim on board here. We have Laura. Who else? Mark. Wow, just mainly most of the people are just coming through the websites. DE. All right, Jim, you want to share what's on your mind before I got just a little tip that I'm going to do. I'm going to actually read from the little book, the 15-minute mornings, just a little tip here. And then we're going to close the shop and we're going to prepare for tomorrow, for the big day tomorrow. Be prepared. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah. I think everyone. I think we need to get into the mindset of empowerment, more specifically self-empowerment and
Mm,
self-control. So I just encourage everyone to start really developing your vocabulary on words that take you towards, that direction of empowerment. Think about freedom. Think about independence. Think about, um, you know, breakthrough. Think about what those words mean and how you feel about those words. What comes to mind? What kind of emotions stir when you say, I'm free? I'm free of this gambling crap, this addictive stuff that I'm in, this mess that I'm in. I'm free. You know, start building up that vocabulary. Start adding to your vocabulary. Write them down in your journal. Cultivate. I want to cultivate habits in my life, you know, that will lead me out of this mess and into the place where I want to go. Right?
Mhm.
Start writing those things down. So yeah, just start writing down using words, positive words that'll take you in the direction that you want to go, to the light.
Exactly. Exactly. Taking on, that's one life hack from Jim. Here's mine. And I did all that too, right? I did all that. I mean, I duplicate what he just said. So I'm encouraging that to do that also. And whatever else you need to be doing to get yourself to where you need to go. Don't worry about everybody else. But then again, you should be concerned about others also, because others should motivate you. If you wonder why you're not getting traction with what you're doing to set the world on fire, well, I don't want to set the world on fire, but I want to set some fire underneath my butt. It's because you're not working on what's important or what can get the result you crave. What can get the result you crave? What's it going to take? So every morning you wake up, Jim talked about this earlier, starting your day, waking up and choosing your words, choosing your conversation. So every morning you wake up, it's worth asking the question, what are the three what are the three most important tasks I can focus on today that will get me closer to my goal? What are the three? So you can be free. So you don't have to be me. I say that with a glee. All right. Three most important tasks. Hey, even writing something down in the morning, period. Even writing down one thing in the morning, starting before you start your day, can make the big difference. All right, Jim. We're going to be looking at this a little bit more, Jim, here. The 10, the 10 famous, no, not the 10 famous questions. This is Jim's outlook. Quantum questions. All right. Maybe next week we'll talk about where they come from, Jim.
Hmm.
Where do they
Okay.
come from? All right. Anything else you want to share there, Jim, before we get off the airwaves here?
Yeah. Yeah. Just think about where you want to go. You know, think about where you want to go. Don't think
Exactly.
about the trash crap pile that you're in currently. Think about where you want to go, right? And start imagining, you know, ways to get there, right? Start imagining ways to get there, because you want it's all about pulling ourselves to a better place. You might be in a good place right now, but remember, it's like the best you can do today, right? That's not the best you can do, because tomorrow you can do better. You can refine.
Mhm.
You can always get better. You can always get better, right? But focus on
Exactly.
doing your best.
Exactly. We can always work on improving, even if it's just a little bit a little bit every day, improving. All right, Facebook, Twitter, tweet, and YouTube. Thank you guys for hanging out. Appreciate all of you guys. I hope you took some notes. And we're going to do our best to be back here next week, Sunday, 7 p.m. Will be, what is it? Podcast 194, 195. We'll be looking at more transformation, change. What's going to get you to change? Keep you going in the direction that you know that you should be going in. What's going to get you to do that for you? We'll see you next Sunday. And to everybody else that here on the broadcast, thank you guys. I appreciate all of you guys. And thank you, Keith. I appreciate the support. Keep coming back, man. Let's do this. Jim, we'll see you next Sunday. Thank you for hanging out.
Thanks, Santos. You have a great week.
You too. We'll keep that list going, man. We'll see what we can get into next week.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
All right. Thank you for hanging out, Jim. Okay. Okay.